Wow, this is actually pretty dirty. 36 seconds to 20 seconds. This shows the how brutal non-increment chess is, because he's just playing, and you see guys how he delays taking the pawn. You see how he just lets the pawn sit, because if you take the pawn, there's 50 moves, so he finally has to take it. And he's flagging and flagging and flagging. Hello, future grandmasters. Today we are going to be analyzing some of the games from the Chessable Masters. Let's see, Hikaru had a crazy game against Grischuk. Like this system B3, and then to play D3. Usually, you don't really want to do this. I'm taking no central control. C3 again. So out of the opening, -1. So I guess I don't know what this is. Seems to love getting losing positions and then magically outplaying his opponents, but it's typical Bush League, typical flagging stuff. I guess there's no increment, so you can get away with this sort of Bush League style chess. Again, I guess he's just keeping the game going until he can flag. Super passive position, terrible, but Grischuk's getting a bit low on time. Again, that loss sacks a piece, but I guess a minute and a half, terrible position. And then Grischuk seems to blunder. If he just goes queen f6, trades the queens, it's game over. He goes this, now he blunders. Check, 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 h6, and this pawn is running. And this is also a checkmate threat. So typical lucky BS. And now it's checkmate. So that was quite a game. I think he played a little bit better in the second game. Again, the super weird structure, like this is not as bad. This is more reasonable, but when people play these sort of lines, h5, this is actually quite a nice concept. That you sort of leave the knight here and you go h5. But if takes, you just take, and if the knight moves, the e5 pawn hangs. After this, double pawns, not really great. Alireza beat Anish. Let's see. So Anish, I actually played a similar system against him. I think I played like queen c2 here in the Grand Swiss, and he actually beat me. But he goes for something quite ambitious. Rook g1. I don't know if it's preparation. I guess he's just sort of freestyling, as one would say. And but again, the knight is he gets sort of a worse endgame. The knight is trapped. The bishop is bad. Look at these squares. The bishop is so bad. The rook is passive. He's trying to go for this. Now the knight comes into g3. It's total domination. The knight really can't move anywhere. Knight comes in f1. But yeah, this is actually just a disgusting position. So that shows, Anish's great understanding. This was another insane game. Like, he's down, how many pawns? Yeah, yes. 2 pawns. You're up 2 pawns in this position. Okay, black is a bit passive. It loses this. It was very instructive. So you have this endgame. They're trying to flag each other. And this is sort of a well-known trick. Because if you go here, then the king comes in here. Then you don't want to go f6 because of this zugzwang, so you have to go back, and then here, and then f4, f5, and then you come over to take this, and you win the game. So that was especially insane. Nepo flags Duda with king, rook, and knight. That's interesting. This sort of non-increment leading to a lot of flagging. Sort of a normal game. Quite a nice opening position. But again, flagging is the name of the game. Let me see how much time he started flagging him with. So he was actually winning. Wait. And then it's a draw again. I want to see how long. Wow, this is actually pretty dirty. So if you guys can see, 36 seconds to 20 seconds. This shows how brutal non-increment chess is. Because he's just playing, and you see guys how he delays taking the pawn? You see how he just lets the pawn sit? Because if you take the pawn, there's 50 moves, so he finally has to take it. And he's flagging and flagging and flagging. And he's trying to make 50 moves. Even he got a winning position. But knight c5. That's actually kind of, that's well. And when she flags him. Well, that is unfortunate, guys. Mouse skills are very, very important. Yeah, this format probably suits Hikaru. Interesting. Okay. Arjun had a crazy game against Artemiev. Yeah, this is super weird. I guess knight g4 and the bishop d2 you can take. And knight d. Wow, this is quite the tactic. And if takes, you play knight takes, or bishop takes. You should play bishop takes. So now you're threatening the rook. You're threatening taking h2. And that in a4 is also quite loose. So knight takes e5, rook takes f1, queen takes f1, queen takes e5. And then there's queen d4, everything, knight in a4 is collapsing. This was a missed chance. He just played b5. Again, like, super bad pawn structure for white. I don't know how he swindled this. Then he's got knight e5. Wow, that's, I guess he just blundered. King h1. And now the knight he loses the knight. Wow, okay. Alireza beats Anish again, playing the Italian. This is sort of mainline stuff. Wow, wait. Interesting. Rook on d5, that's quite something, guys. This is heavy. When was the last time we saw a rook on d5? F5. 3 is such an ugly move. 3 is really such an ugly move. Anish is a great position, but again, the time is a huge factor. He's pretending to attack here, but he's just pushing the pawn. Wow, he just blunders. Because you see, no increment really changes things. Really changes things. One blunder, and the game's over. Crazy stuff. Fabiano beats Sevian. This is sort of a mini. Interesting. D takes e5 is something. Wow. He gets a huge pawn mass. Yeah, this was. But you see how quickly things can turn. Everything looks good. Everything gets normal. But then suddenly, bishop comes into f5. Okay, guys. This is insane. This is insane. Wow. Okay. Let's continue. Nepo beat Duda again. This is a bit weird. So usually, these sort of early c3s. So this is an interesting London system. So like people sometimes go c3 here to stop c5, and to go c3 here is also interesting. Now you get a sort of a London at h5. Yeah, and Nepo sometimes just does very weird things in the opening. There's an attack, takes, bishop c2, going to queen d3. But again, black has the two bishops. Knight h2, h5. He's trying to get an attack. Kid g4. Knight h4 is a weird move. Wow. So I guess it was a must-win. So yeah, he just blunders. Yeah. So Duda was in a must-win and he just went crazy. That's interesting. Okay.